Hi, everybody. I'm Catherine Bell, founder of The Awaken Company, and I'm with Tamika Cole, and she has been a therapist for over 30 years. She has also been a yoga instructor and really educator, and she's written an amazing book called Truthaches. And I think that this is such important medicine for our time because the truth is like longing to be told. And I think in so many ways, people wear so many masks to cover their truths. And we're going to be exploring on February 9th how to unearth, how to take off the masks that everybody wears so that more truth and more realness can be told. And Tamika, what are some of the things that you've heard from people that truly constitute truthaches?
There are so many different kinds of truthaches and types of truthaches. It's usually unique to the person. And often we have ability to speak our truth with certain people or certain types of people even. And then we have other areas where we can't. So it's hard to say what is the most common, but what I will tell you is quite often I have people coming to me where they've had a conflict or something hasn't felt right with someone else. Like this would just be an everyday truthache, not a big one, not a big secret, but just something with an interaction with someone you care about, and it just doesn't feel right. And you have a sense that something's wrong and you don't say anything about it. You just let it go. And, maybe the person was having a bad day, and sometimes that makes sense to let that stuff go. But if those keep happening, then we just build and build and build. And then we don't have the chance to find out more information and learn about the other person and about ourselves in the process too. And the richness that can come out from really sharing how we feel with other people. Because truthaches are something that we hide that hurts us, but it's not hiding our opinion. It's not really our opinion. It's hiding how we have experience something or how we feel about something. It's usually that in that vein.
And so in the session, we're going to go to how to actually cure those truthaches, how to solve and go into those truthaches. So Tamika, if you don't mind playing with me a little bit. So one of my truthaches is I don't let on how sensitive I am. I'm often incredibly hurt by what people say, either kind of off the cuff of their mouth to me or off the cuff of their mouth about somebody else. And it really kind of puts arrows in my heart, and I develop more of a shield. It's like my armor has developed as a result of feeling so sensitive around things. So for example, I'll give an example. One of the things this weekend is I suggested a movie called Kumare, which I just love. I don't know if you've seen it, Tamika. It's about a person who becomes a guru and does it kind of to explore his own spirituality and the spirituality of others. And I think it was produced in 2012 or something. And I just remember it being amazing. So I suggested this movie, and I really think it's a profound movie and a profound teaching. So watch it if you're listening to this, Kumare. And the reaction from some of the people I was with was less than stellar, and it really hurt. So I was like sitting and hurt, and then I started to get really, really mad, Tamika. And then eventually I said, I'm so sorry if it wasn't what you liked, if you didn't enjoy it. And then it took off a different spin. But what would you suggest for somebody like me who's like I'm super sensitive, and I don't really let people know how sensitive I am, and yet I'm also really blunt. So I can also throw fire at people without intending to, because I'm so direct and blunt. And yet when I receive things, I am super sensitive.
Yeah. I resonate with a lot of what you're saying. I think it's interesting because you would have to ask yourself, was I aching to share how I really felt? So if it was a truthache, then there would have been like, I want them to know that, that was hurtful in some way, and not that they intended to be hurtful, but I'm sensitive. And so it's claiming, I have sensitivity around that conversation. And I feel sensitive about this. So if my energy is a little off now as we go through the evening, I just want you guys to know that you didn't do anything wrong, but I just feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable. But it sounds like maybe instead you apologize to them.
I did.
Yeah.
I apologized to them because I was feeling like, oh, geez, I recommended a movie that maybe was off for the group. And yet I think that approach that you just suggested was like, oh, I'm just a little sensitive right now, would really work. Like just kind of acknowledging how I'm feeling. Because I'm often way more sensitive than people have a clue. They'll see this kind of bold exterior, and inside I'm like a little puppy dog.
Yeah, I can relate. Yeah, I can relate to that because, and also probably they would want to know, like people that love us want to know who we are inside and care about us, not even love us, people that care about us and care about our feelings want to know who we are inside and want to know if they've hurt our feelings. Like at least I do. I want to know. And so I think that could work in some settings, and other settings, it might not work depending on who's listening to this right now. It might work for some people. It might not work for others, but then you get good information too, right? So let's say you said it and they were like, you're too sensitive. Like, just get over yourself. Like somebody might have friends like that just say, get over yourself. And so that's really good information to know that it's not that they're bad or wrong, those people, but they just aren't able to hold that level of sort of sharing or vulnerability. Mm-hmm. So then you've learned something, right?
Mm-hmm. Very much so. So the session we're doing in February is really for anyone who wants to unleash the truth with themselves, with their relationships, with their teams. It could be coaches, therapists, yoga instructors, like the whole gamut, for anybody who really wants to come to learn how to embody the truth within themselves.
And we're going to go over the 10 mistakes that people commonly make when they're speaking their truth. And most people don't even know that these mistakes exist. So I'm really excited about sharing those because I think that there's ways to avoid this from going off. There's ways to make this smooth for yourself and for your loved ones too. And we all want a more honest world. And like we look to people like politicians and outside of ourselves and say, why can't I figure out who's being honest? But really it starts in our own intimate circles. And that's how we're going to create the new world that we all want to create.